Welcome to a Tabloid Times At Issue podcast. I am joined today by my esteemed colleagues from many, many walks of life. Thank you all for joining me. And we are here to discuss the biggest issues of the day. And today's issue will be unemployment. Now, as we all know, unemployment is the status of being unemployed. And thus, we must discuss about what exactly unemployment fits into this brand new modern society that we have today. So, Mr. Hauser, would you like to start us?
Sure. I think, in my opinion, that this is the new era where unemployment is an honor. People really need to understand that things are great when you don't have a job, because really, now you don't have to do any work. I mean, sure, you might have trouble, feeding yourself, but what are your parents for? And then, of course, unemployment is also a great honor, because you're providing so much to your society. You have so much time where you can think and just do stuff. Honestly, if it was my way, all of society would be unemployed.
I think we need to look at this issue slightly differently. I think we need to separate unemployment into physical unemployment and emotional unemployment. Physical unemployment is when you're physically unemployed, but emotional unemployment can be severely damaging, because even if you aren't unemployed, you then become unemployed, and then your employment status becomes unemployed, and you can't employ many tactics to fight that.
What can employers do?
They can employ.
Employers can employ people. I know I try and employ people. I haven't employed anyone, but when I do try and employ people, I focus on not just employing people, but the aspect of employment itself.
Do you normally try and employ the unemployed?
No, I employ the employed. Unemployed, I feel like have a bad record, so I try and employ people that have never been unemployed.
So with this issue of employment, I think really the unemployed should be given the honor, and we should really change the stigma about the employment of employment.
So you're saying that we change our statistic from unemployment to employment?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying we change the stigma. We want unemployment to be an honor and a duty, because those employers usually employ the employed, when the unemployed don't get employed by the employers, and they sometimes don't make good employees.
All right.
And it's really a problem with our market economy.
All right, you guys are employing a lot of great tactics here with your topics, but again,
I think we have to look at the issue of when we're employed, are we going to use red pens or blue pens? Because it says a lot about society which color pen we use. Especially if it's a ballpoint.
Strongly against red pens. They're ugly.
They're horrible. What are you talking about?
Red pens are a necessity for society.
They're not. Red is an ugly
When someone uses a green pen, it is a personal affront to my character.
That we can agree on.
Yeah, okay.
Green pens are terrible.
Yeah,
No green pens.
If I see someone using a yellow pen, they deserve to be out on the street.
Yellow pen is best pen. How can you draw emoji?
Yellow pens are terrible except on puce-colored paper.
Yes.
Or when drawing emoji.
Yes, those are the only exceptions.
I
think crayons make better writing utensils.
Yeah, for sure.
Even a green pen is inferior to crayons.
Yeah. Though one of those multicolored
pens are the worst
those
things
can pass. The ones that
You have to burn your multicolored pen if it has green on it. Let me tell you something. We need to incorporate emojis in our business world as we conglomerate our technology into fused enterprises. The issue of unemployment strikes strong in this area because
people are unemployed.
Would you go work at a job where they made you use green pens? I'm telling you, people, we need to get new mouse pads.
I would say employers should look for employees who properly employ the color of pen of their choice. And I think really
unless that color's
there
green.
are some civil rights activists and the American Civil Liberties Union has been arguing this way, that employers should not judge by the color of pen. But I think really if someone is using a green pen, they deserve to be out on the street. But then again, unemployment is an honor. So I don't know what employers should do about employees.
Just employ employees. Don't employ.
See, the
Not
problem
in-
is, I think
Don't employ people that are prone to unemployment. That's what I say.
But what about the green pens? What happens if you're an employer and you're the employee that you employed, who was previously unemployed, is now using green pens?
is anyone truly ever employed? Think about it. Because someone just gave you a job.
The Tabloid Times is the only true employer.
I
Yeah.
mean, really, I don't know if there is really a distinct line between employed and unemployed. It's sort of just a gray area.
There's a fine line between employed and unemployed.
But no one knows where that line lies. I mean, can anyone definitively say whether they're unemployed or employed, except for a few cases?
No.
Because if you have a job, do you really have a job?
I mean, you go
think
home
about
on
it.
weekends. Are you unemployed when you go home on the weekend?
Think about it. You're not meeting with your employer for hours and hours in the day. You're working 40 hours a week when there's so many more hours where you're unemployed. So what is your overall state? Because you have an employer, but you're not necessarily full-time employed.
See, I think we have to stop talking about jobs and start focusing our attention on shoes. I think something
think that's-
very damaging has been done to the feet of America, and we need to fight back. That's why Nike didn't pay me to say that.
Okay, back to pens. What are your guys' thoughts on using pencils? Like, are they acceptable, unacceptable, rude? What are the benefits of using pencils instead of pens? And is there anything below the green pen? Is there anything below green pen in our society?
What about using an orange pen?
Orange pens? What do you guys think? Orange pens or green pens?
Orange and green are the same color if you really break it down to the color molecules and move the electrons around. You basically get the
If
same
you
thing.
think about things in the universe, every single thing is made of the same thing. Like atoms, like what are atoms made out of? Just atoms, you know?
Right, I mean, is anything really different if you think about it?
So are people named Adam superior?
No, clearly not. Because they're just made up of themselves. It's weird.
So then are they the most wholesome because they're made up of themselves?
No, they're the most self-absorbed.
Because they absorb themselves?
Exactly. But
I think another issue lies in the fact that coffee turns people into beavers.
Also,
While I don't have evidence for this, I know it's true. I can tell in my heart that people are turning into not badgers, but beavers. And if you drink tea, that's when you turn into badgers. Now, this is not consistent and it doesn't happen to everyone, but think, why else would we have beavers? They cut down trees.
You don't see beavers in the wild.
think about it this way. Beavers are basically nature's infrastructure workers. So we would consider them employed, right? But they're not employed by an employer.
Maybe that's where
so
the
are all animals
employment-
unemployed?
No, because they do jobs.
So,
They get paid with like bugs and stuff that animals eat, you know?
right.
I think we should move to an insect-based pay system for America. I think it would benefit everyone very well. I think we
Hey,
would have a
guys.
lot more job satisfaction.
I've got a story to tell, and it's been eating me up on the inside.
Proceed.
Is
Well,
it a
I am
snake?
I'm a Tabloid Times author here, Matthew Hauser. But way back when, before I was on the force, I was sort of a lost soul, and I was trying to get a high-paying job. It was one of those corporate sellout positions. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, right.
No, what are you saying?
Like marketing.
Yeah. It was like marketing, and I sent in my resume, and it came back, and the employer said in green pen that I was going to be unemployed. I didn't know what to do, so I composed myself, and that's when I opened my eyes. I met this guy, Anton Sheridan Kuchmek,
Oh yeah, hey, that's me.
and I think that's a part of the tabloid time story that we haven't heard before.
It's like the
But
legacy, you know, like sometimes
Green
we
pen.
think about stuff.
in the horror of green pen, we have to also think about how much we owe to it. Because
Yeah.
it ultimately ended up creating the tabloid times.
Yeah.
That was just a surprise visitor. You just,
Yeah.
We get a bunch of haters and losers on the internet, and they don't like being beavers.
Hey, we told the haters and the losers to stay out.
Alright, so,
Stay out.
before we wrap this up, Mason, I've been glad to be a guest on this discussing employment and unemployment, but I have to say, in hindsight to how the beavers work, I think it might not be preferable to be unemployed. But that's my take.
Alright.
I think we all need to understand that being a beaver isn't such a bad thing. They have big tails and humans don't have tails. And beavers have big teeth and humans don't have teeth. So I think what we need to see is that beavers kind of live
employment.
better.
We need to see employment.
But I think employment is, again, badgers are for people who drink tea and suffer emotional unemployment, but physical unemployment is for beavers. And now woodpeckers are kind of the people who haven't made up their mind or have gone through both emotional unemployment and being a badger.
You know, I just advocate for creating jobs. That's all I gotta say. Yeah.
You think that's the solution to unemployment?
Of course.
But if employers have more employees, then should they employ the employees to employ more employers? Think about it that way. It's basically corporate espionage.
I think what we need to understand, I know you're trying to wrap this up, Mason, but I think we need to turn this discussion in a slightly different direction just for the sake of humanity. Are jobs jobs? Tell me that, Mason. If you can tell me a definitive answer, I'll shut up about the beavers and badgers. I'll give away everything, every single fact that I have presented to the world to save them from unemployment. If you can give me a definitive answer, are jobs jobs? I take everything back.
Okay.
Not definitive. I stand by everything.
I
Thank you,
didn't-
everybody. I'm wrapping this
No,
up, Mason.
no, I
you
did
don't
not-
know what
hey,
you're talking
no,
about.
I didn't do
This
that.
is
No,
how
I
I do
didn't
it at
do
the
that.
tabloid time.